Hi, my name is Kimberly from Zeeman Development. Today I'm going to show you how to integrate your GiveCampus data with Razor's Edge using Importacular. So the first thing we need to do is go to our plugins area and open up Importacular. We need to select GiveCampus from the menu, click Start. And then we need to select the start and end dates for our gifts. So I'm going to push this back a little bit. Ordinarily, it will show the date that you last ran the import from. We can enter a maximum number of both affiliations and designations for each transaction. So if you've got split gifts, you might need to increase these. And I want to include my authorized payments and my paid transactions. So it will now download my data. And we can see that I've got 4 records for review. So I've created a mapping template already, but I just want to take you through that to show you what you can do with the data that's coming over. So when you open up the mapping template, you'll be able to see the various different areas across the top. The free areas are the constituent, the address and the gifts tabs, and those are the only ones that I filled out here. And within each of those, there are various different areas that you can find in those areas of Razor's Edge. So first of all, we've created a donor mapping. You can see all the Razor's Edge fields in the constituent area here. And if you click in the source field name, so the source being GiveCampus, you'll be able to see all the available fields that come over from GiveCampus. And you can choose where to map each of those fields. So they can go anywhere you like in Razor's Edge. Obviously, there are some that are more sensible than others in terms of places to go, but it just gives you some flexibility about where you store that data. You can see we can also select a default value. So if we don't have data in GiveCampus, but we want to add it to new or existing records, we can use that. And we've got some settings so that we can manipulate the way that data is added and transform it if it's not coming in the way that we want it to be. So to show you what we've got, for example, we've got the first name in Razor's Edge has been mapped to the first name in GiveCampus, and that's generated. And I'll talk a little bit about why that is in a second. We've got the constituent ID, which we're just using to look up, the surname, the maiden name, and so on. We've also got some settings that you can see here as well. So if we take a quick look at those settings, this allows us to choose whether or not we want to update values for just new constituents, just existing, or both. So we don't need to change any information that we've already got on an existing constituent record. We can change the text casing. So if this is user generated data, then we might want to make sure it's all proper case. And we can also transform values, but we'll have a look at that on a more appropriate field a bit later on. Okay, so once we're happy with that, we've got that set up. Now, you saw that the last name field was a generated field, and that's because the way that the data comes over from GiveCampus is that the name is all in one field. So we need to split out the first name, any middle names, the last name, a title, anything like that from the incoming data. And the way that we can do that is in the settings for the constituent generally. So if we go to the settings here, we can see that we've got the Importacular is able to split up a name column into its parts. So we use the name parser, and we've chosen the field paid by name, and that will allow us to split that paid by name up into the various constituent parts. So we'll then have a generated field for title, first name, middle name, last name, and suffix. Okay. We've also set up a constituent code, so that's going to be added to all of our new records coming in, so we can make sure that we don't ever have a record without a constituent code. And we've also got some additional addressee and salutation types based on the recognition name that we set up in GiveCampus. So what we've got here is the source field, which is the recognition name, and we're adding that with the address and salutation type of recognition name, so we can use that in Razor's Edge. You can obviously add any additional fields that you want to here, from attributes to notepads, solicit codes, or additional constituent codes if you want to as well. In the address tab, we've got an address, a phone, and an email. The address is fairly straightforward. We simply map the address lines to the various different places in Razor's Edge. We can choose an info source. You can see that I've got a default value here of preferred, and then I've got a default value for our type. So you can see some of the fields here have got a little green tick, and that means that this field is a required field in your Razor's Edge. So you will have to fill out either a source field or a default value in order to create this record. We've also got a phone and an email address. And now let's take a look at the gift. So with the gift, we've got a lot more required fields here, exactly as you would if you were creating a gift manually in Razor's Edge. You can see some of these we filled in default values, some of these we filled in values from GiveCampus. One of the things we've done here is we've got the campaign, and we've chosen a specific campaign, but for the fund we're using our designation name. And what we're doing is transforming that designation name to the fund that we want to apply it to. So if it comes in from GiveCampus as a general, then we can add it to our building fund. If it comes in as missions, we can add it to our international fund. And then we've got a catch-all. So anything else will go into our annual fund. So you can set this up with both your campaign appeals and fund, however you like, in order to transform that into what you've got to Razor's Edge. So it doesn't need to match exactly. And we can do that with various other fields as well. So for example, you might need to do that for the state field in address lines, or you might need to do that for constituent codes. Whatever you need to do, it's available. So we filled in all of these different areas. We've got the value, we've got the type. We've also got a gift attribute, which we set up with the project name. So we've got the form name as a default value, and then we're using the project name as it comes over from GiveCampus. So that will be added to the gift as well as an attribute. And once again, you've got some additional options here for split gifts, for notepads, attributes, whatever it is that you need to add in your Razor's Edge. So let's close that template. Once the template is set up, we can reuse it multiple times. And now we're going to bring that data into Razor's Edge. So the first thing we need to do is to create a control report. And the control report will just show us any errors there might be in the process. When you first start using the integration, you might want to do some testing, in which case you can just process a small number of records to start with so you can review the data. And we're also going to create a Razor's Edge query of new and updated constituents too, so we can easily find them. So let's say continue. Now, at this point, no data has been added to Razor's Edge. We've got the opportunity to review every single field before it goes in. So on the first screen, you can see here, this is our data source screen, so we can see the constituents and we can see whether or not they've been found in Razor's Edge or if they're a new addition. So we can see that in the action to take column. So create means it's a brand new record and no match has been found. Decide means that it's found some possible options of somebody it might be, and we need to either choose somebody to update or make it a create. And then we've got an update here, which means it's found a good or a perfect match, and we can update that record with the information we're bringing in this time. You can see the type of match at the end here, so an exact match, a poor match, or no match, and you can choose what to do with it. But then before we import that data, we can check every single data field. So here we can see the last name, the first name, any fields that we've added automatically, the constituent code that's going to be added, and the recognition name. In the address fields, we've got the postal address, the phone number, so none of these people have given us a phone number, and the email address. And then lastly, we've got the gift. So here we can check that everything looks exactly as it should, that the type, the amount, that everything we see here is exactly as we would expect when creating a gift in Razor's Edge. And we can do the same with the project name, so we can see what's going to go on to our gift attribute too. So this is a really good opportunity to just do a quick spot check to make sure that there's nothing that looks incorrect. We can also make very quick changes as well. So if we see that something is slightly incorrect here, so for example, we've got Sherlock on Holmes the wrong way around, then we can just double click to change that. And it's that easy. Okay, so we can import the data, but before we do that, we're going to validate it. And this will just check it against various different fields in Razor's Edge to make sure that our code tables are matched and that everything's going to go in as we expect. So we validated those records. We're going to create 3 records and we're going to update 1. We can see a summary of that here. So now if we close that, uncheck the validate box and import the records, we can add this data to Razor's Edge. And we can see that they've been successfully added and 4 gifts have been added to our batch. So let's come out of here. And first of all, let's go and find that batch and commit it. So we can see we've got our 4 gifts here. Let's commit that batch. And then let's find that query of records that we've updated or created. So we've got 4 records. So this one's a brand new record. We can see we've got the friend code added. We've got her basic details, her email address. We've got her gift that's been added here. If we open that up, we can see the gift attribute of demo donation form has been added as well. And we can see her additional salutation, the recognition name has been added to that record too. For the record that we updated, we haven't actually changed any of these details here, but we have added the friend code, and we've also added that new gift. So that's going to go on there as well. I hope that helps you to understand how you can use Importacular to get your GiveCampus data into Razor's Edge. Thanks for listening.